So this week on The Rebels, we're talking about plotting versus pantsers. I'm a total pantser, but for book 2, I actually had to plot it out. And I'm going to show you my plot wall, which has the entire plot, pretty much, of book 2 on it. They're blank because I flipped them over. But it's fun when you know your editor watches your vlogs.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
For your first book, it's easy to pick a team. You can either be a pantser or a plotter. And a lot of times you think that that's the only way that you can write. But when you sell a trilogy, you have to give them an outline for book 2 and 3. I'm a total pantser, so that was not easy for me. Looking back at my outlines, they're pretty hysterical. They were never really meant to be outlines, they were more notes. I'm sure they kind of giggled when they read them. Luckily, I haven't had to do a complete synopsis or anything for my books. I've kind of gotten away with phone calls, and this is where I think it's going, so that seems to be working out. I did try to plot more for the second book, which you can see. I'm still not entirely convinced that I started plotting at the beginning. The chunk of story that I have right now is either missing the beginning and the end, or the middle and the end. And from day to day it changes as to what I think is there. Jury's still out on that one. I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure it'll be fine. How I plotted, I'm a pretty broke girl, so I couldn't afford those fancy colored note cards, but I had a lot of old office supplies, so these are cut up envelopes. I cut them into thirds, and then each color is a different point of view for a different character. So as you can see, whoever the white cards are is one of the main points of view, and then every once in a while you've got to stick a different point of view in there to keep the story rolling. It's the same kind of technique that I used in my first book. Most of the chapters are from Eden's point of view, but then you get a few from Gabe or Az. And I really like that style, so I kind of decided to stick with it for the second one. There is a mystery point of view. Hopefully that point of view will be getting a little more play as we go along, but we'll see. The best way to use the cards is whatever way you need to use them in. Some scenes, I just need a few words. Character A confronts character B, and that's enough. I know exactly what I'm going for, so I know how the scene is going to go. Other times, I need a complete roadmap of directions, how to get from point A to point B to make that chapter work. So you just kind of do whatever comes naturally to you, and don't be afraid to change your techniques with different books. Plotting this one out has actually really helped so far, which I was kind of surprised at. Normally I don't like to know where I'm going. I like to be as surprised as everybody else is with what's happening. To me, my books come out kind of like a movie in my head, so I watch the scenes play out as I'm writing them. And you don't really like to watch a movie if you already know the ending. The end is definitely missing from this. I don't know what happens yet. I'm sure it's going to be epic, though. Mostly sure. If not, my editor will make it epic.
5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.